Up to now, we have seen how to create a Y-shaped structure for a single iteration. Now we have to see how we can do that second, third, fourth, fifth iterations according to the input we will give. So first thing what we will do, we will go to the shell script, and here I am going to initialize a value iteration number, and here I am going to write in iteration number 16. That is the first iteration that we are going to do, and I am going to replace all the hard-coded 16 value with the iteration number. So wherever 16 is there, iteration number I have replaced with a value iteration number. Okay, now we already know that if second, third and fourth iteration will happen, for example, if first iteration is there is 16, then second iteration will be 16 divided by 2, that is 8. Third iteration will be 8 divided by 2, that will be 4. Fourth iteration will be 4 divided by 2, 2, and fifth iteration, which will be the last according to our constraints, that will be 2 divided by 2 equal to 1. So to accomplish that, what I will do, in the shell script, after the end of the while loop, I am going to write let that's it. Okay, now let's execute this script. At first I'm going to check 1 only first of all. So this is 1 and it is going iteration number equal to 16. It is going to work perfectly fine. Now we will make some modifications in that shell script so that second, third, fourth and fifth iteration also could happen. Let's see what are those changes. Up to now, we have created the first iteration in which we have created a straight height. After that, 2 vertical heights, correct? Now, what if instead of 1, I will give 2 input? I will give input as 2. Now, in this scenario, there will be 2 iteration is going to happen, correct? The first one, this is the first iteration. Now, after that, what is going to happen? It's in this, at the edge point of these two, second iteration of straight height will get created. Now, to start with the second iteration, I have to know the row number and column number of this point. Okay, and this point. Now the question remains is how I am going to get that one. Now, to get the position number of row number and column number of these 2 points, what I have to do, I have to declare 2 array. First one will be, let's keep the name as node row, and another one I will keep as node column. Okay, and after that node row and node column, I have to write the indexing number. I have to save it through that, and in this edge point I am going to store, in these 2 arrays I am going to store the values of row number and column number. Okay, now let's go to the shell script and see how we are going to do that. So first of all, what we are going to do, first of all I am going to declare two array. First one is node row to store the row number, and another one is node column. Now, I have to store the data through indexing number, right? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take two variables through which I'm going to count the indexing number. The first variable I will take as node row index. Let's keep the first value, default value as 0, and another one I will take node column index equal to 0. Now, what are the things that we are going to store in this node row and node column? We are going to store the row number and column number of the end point of this vertical height. To store the end point of the vertical height, we will go to the vertical height for loop. Oh, this is the vertical height for loop, okay, and which we are iterated 2 times with the help of this while loop that we already have seen. Now, in the end of here, what I'm going to write here, write a logic if condition I'm going to write. The condition will be something like this: if $j equal to iteration number either be 16 or 16 by 2, 8 or 8 by 2 or anything like that. So if it is the equal to $j equal to iteration number, that means it is the last iteration point, and if it is equal, then in that scenario, what we will do, if it is the last, we will store the data here. What I'm going to write, node row, and here I'm going to write node row index equal to $temp data row. Another one will be node column $node column index. So $temp data column. So node row index and node row column, with the help of node row and node column index, I'm going to store the temp data row and temp data column of the last point. Okay, now after storing the value, what I will do, I will just increase the increment if it will be the second one. Okay, so if the second iteration, that means it will be the more than one straight height. We already know that if it is third, then it will be more than 2 or 3. If it is 4, then it will be more than that. So for that, what I am going to do, I will increase the increment. So every time I will increase the increment after storing the value of temp data row and temp data column. So I will so that data will get stored according to the indexing number. So let's write node row index plus plus. Another one will be node column index plus plus. So we have stored the data of node row and node column index. Okay, now what I have to do, now in the first for loop, you have already seen that how we have created this straight height. Now in that same for loop, we will go and we are going to iterate this node row and node column until and unless all the starting point of node row and node column will get stored at this will get created. So again, we will go back to the shell script, and what we will do, we will go to the creation of straight height. So this is the place where the straight height will get created, right? Start row equal to 64, start column equal to start row equal to 64, and start column equal to 50. And after that, for loop got started, and this is the end of this done position where all the straight height got created. Okay, now inside here only, before that, I'm going to iterate this one, so that as many number of node row and node column index exist, it will get iterated and the straight height will get created according to their position number. So what I will do, I will write here for index in dollar node row at do, and it will be another one will be done. So in this row indexing, it will get iterated until and unless all the starting row and starting column will get created. Now after that, what we will do here, I am going to, instead of hard-coded values, I am going to pass the data we stored at the at this vertical height in position. So what I'm going to write, I'm going to write dollar node row, here dollar index, same thing I'm going to do it here, node column dollar will get created. Now both the starting position and the ending position got created. Now after that, it will get iterated until and unless all the vertical position, all the straight height got created. Now after creating all the straight height, we will destroy both the array. Why we are going to destroy both the array? For example, if it is more than 2 iterations, so once the 2 iterations, all the data will get stored it here. Then if we won't destroy, then again it will get iterated at the same position starting number, and it will disturb our code, correct? So for that purpose only, we are going to destroy this one, so that again new one will get created and store it here. So for that, what we will do, we will unset node row, unset node column. We did that. Now we will also make the indexing number, node row index, default value as 0, and node column index equal to 0. So we have created node row index equal to 0 and node column index equal to 0. We have created, again making default as 0, so that from again the vertical height, a new straight height position will get stored in this one, and it will get stored it here. Okay. Now in this code, there is one problem here. The problem is the beginning of the positions. If, for example, if I've given 2, or instead of 2, let's say I've given instead of 2, for example, let's say I've given 3, or instead of 3 I've given 4. So in that scenario, node row and node column indexing position will get stored, but it will always start from the first position, right? And in the first position, we know that the data is completely blank, because we are storing from the vertical height position, not from the first one, correct? So for that, what we will do, we will make the first value as hard coded. So let's go back to the shell script again, and we will go outside here, and the first value will make hard coded. So we know the first position is 0 only. Either we can write 0, or I can write node row indexed. It will not make any changes. So I will write node row equal to 0, and the starting position is 64. We know that why we have written 64, because whenever the position will get created, then start row equal to start row minus 1. So 64 minus 1 became 63, right? So, and after that, I'm going to write node column equal to 50. Done. So we have created node row and nodes column 50. So what are the things that we have done? We have completely made the dynamic our code for creating the. Now again we will see how we will make dynamic for two vertical heights. Two vertical